Hello, hello. This is Newbies to Movies, a podcast where we like to talk about new movies that we're watching. I'm Tyler.
And I'm Justin.
I'm
and
Tyrone.
This week we got a special guest, Tyrone, my dad. His second time on the show. And the first time he came on was for another director, Catherine Bigelow. And this week's podcast, we were talking about Denis Villeneuve. He is the director for the Dune movies, the new one that's coming out this year, Dune Messiah. He's done a bunch of other movies like Prisoners, Sicario. And this week we did Incendies and Blade Runner 2049. He's like one of the bigger directors now, even though his filmography is like up to like 10 movies, with 8 being more Americanized. But he's got some crazy projects coming up as well. But first, we'll start off with just talking about some things that we want to shout out. Dad, you want to go first?
Yeah. Hey there. Thanks for the invite on the podcast. Did a couple mini series that's probably stretch over about 2 weeks that were really good. Love and Death. I don't know if you guys checked that one out. 2023.
Yeah, I like
about
that one a
the
lot.
story of Cindy Montgomery that killed one of her friends, one of her lover spouses. Eddie Gore, real stories. Has one of my favorite actors in it, Jesse Plemons. I don't know if it's correct how you pronounce it, but he's awesome. But Elizabeth Olsen, she did an outstanding job.
Yeah.
Tom Pelethly, I don't know how you pronounce his name, but he's an awesome actor as well. I really like. So those three, anytime I see actors I really like, I'll check out. But it is a really good series. And apparently there's other ones out there. I was talking to my daughter about it. Since it's a true story, she's big on the crime podcast. And apparently there's a lot of different iterations of what the truth is in that whole story. But
yeah,
she basically got off. And so it was a really good miniseries.
Also, I really like that miniseries.
I really checked out another one, His and Hers. Just recently came out. Has another great actor I really like, John Berthel.
Yeah, Berthel.
Really, really good miniseries. He's one of my favorite actors too. So if you get a chance to check that one out, or if you already saw it, it's a really good one.
I started like halfway through the first episode, but I need to reattack it because it seems like my kind of movie with like the trials and all that kind of stuff. And, like a cop against like a reporter kind of deal. And both of the actors I really like a lot.
So yeah, both those are really good.
Awesome. What about you, Justin?
Yeah, I was able to get 2 movies in this week. First big one, I watched Manchester by the Sea. That movie was absolutely devastating. Really rough watch, but a really great story and well acted by Casey Affleck. Rightfully so, I believe it got a couple Oscars. And then I also am interested in a lot of the DC animated movies. And I watched one that I've been meaning to called Batman Mask of the Phantasm.
I've heard good things.
It definitely felt like Warner Brothers was like, hey, we're not selling enough toys. And then some writer was in his back room and he's like, I'm about to cook with this one.
Yeah.
It was an amazing story. It was really good. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars on Letterboxd. So definitely recommend that one as well.
When did that come out?
It was like late 90s, I believe. Yeah, early 90s, 93. And it looks great. It's definitely that 90s style animation, but it's good.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I watched that growing up. Like, I'm almost positive because I would watch all the Batman movies growing up, like all the animated ones. So I'm sure I've seen it, but I definitely want to reattack it as like an adult, as a person that still likes Batman a lot. As I have like a Dark Knight poster literally right behind me, how much I like Batman. But yeah. So I watched a couple movies. I'm going to specifically call out 2 2026 movies I watched. So Primate being the first one. And this is really like just a horror movie about a chimpanzee that kind of goes rogue and just starts killing a bunch of people. There's really not much else to the story. It's pretty gruesome. Like the chimpanzee straight up just pulls a jawbone out of a person and they show all of it. And I'm like, that's awesome. I don't know. I was like, oh, that's sick. It's just a movie that like had people in the theater just like laughing too, because they're like, wow, this chimpanzee's just killing people. And then the other one I watched was The Rip. Has Ben Affleck and Matt Damon in it. It came out on Netflix like Friday. I think the story itself was really good. I liked how it's set up and all that. I'm trying not to give out any spoilers, but I think it was really good, like setup to it. I just think the action sequences towards the end of the movie really took away from like the whole buildup of it. And Netflix itself, it bought out like I think Warner Brothers in the past couple of months, and people were really scared about like the theaters and all that, taking away theater experiences and what Netflix is going after. I think this movie, I don't know why they didn't put it in the theater. You have 2 of the biggest actors in the world, Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, finally back in a movie together, and you decide not to put it in the theater. I don't know. A lot of opinions about Netflix and what they're doing right now with movies, but it's really
I was shocked that when I saw it come out on Netflix, I was like, did I miss this? Did
Yeah.
They come out? I didn't realize it only came out on Netflix.
Yeah. So it has Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, Stephen Yeun, and as well as Teyana Taylor, who's going to be nominated for Best Supporting Actress. It's like, you got like crazy momentum with these people, and you decide to just, let's just put it on Netflix the second weekend of January. It's like, what?
Yeah.
I don't know. Definitely a missed opportunity on some money that they could have done. And they're trying to prove a point of like, oh, we're still going to release movies in theaters. And they decide not to with this one. So it's like, what movie will you release in theaters if not this one?
I know there was Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. They owned the production company that brought the movie. And so they set up a lot of bonuses for the cast and crew. I thought was pretty cool that if, the movie gets a certain amount of views, hits certain marks, then the whole cast and crew gets bonuses as well. I would hope Netflix isn't trying to sabotage their own movie, but it kind of sounds like it, especially like you were saying, with such a big cast.
Yeah.
It definitely should have been in theater.
Yeah, definitely. I'd definitely check it out if you like just like action movies, because it's like the whole setup of it and like the twist on it was really good. I just think towards the end of the movie, it kind of takes away from it, sadly. But cool. So yeah, this week we were talking about Denis Villeneuve. Originally born in Canada, so he grew up like speaking French. And a lot of his initial films, especially the first three, Polytechnic, and then as well as Incendies itself, are basically French films, like based out of Canada. But he's definitely an interesting director where I think once he became Americanized, he like started off with really dark movies. Like you think about Prisoners, Enemy, Arrival, Sicario, very like rustic, grounded films. And then he just switches it up with Blade Runner and then the Dune movies. And it's just like a total like kind of 180 from like grounded films to like very like big epic like science fiction films. What do you guys think about him as a director?
Yeah, I've before this week I only had seen Prisoners, so I kind of thought I knew what I was getting into this week, and I didn't at all. I watched Sicario, Incendies, and Blade Runner, obviously, but three very different films, very different perspectives, and all over the place. I guess it just kind of shows his range, and they were all really great.
Yeah, it really wasn't on my radar till we did these two movies. I saw Prisoners before and then Sicario. Huge, big fan of Sicario. Even after now, that whole sort of franchise now I'm really a big fan of. And then these two movies, I didn't realize, the same director. But yeah, impressive body of work. I really want to check out some of these other movies now because now I'm really hooked on them now because these two movies really got my attention too. It's really like crisp. I really like directors that keep things really crisp. Throughout their movies and stuff. And so I really like how he is iterative about that throughout his portfolio here that I've watched. So now I'm eager to go see some of these other movies now. And I've heard good things about the Dune, but I just haven't got a chance. But I'm definitely going to be on my to-do list now to check them out. And you think of some of the Canadian directors, James Cameron. I mean, he's starting to build a portfolio up there now to start competing with some of these more famous, I would say, equally or more famous Canadian directors. He's trying to build quite a portfolio of, he can start being, named in those sort of higher echelon of Canadian directors.
Yeah. Some people think like this Dune Part 3 may get the Return of the King treatment of like when Return of the King won 11 Oscars because it was like the end of a trilogy. There's a lot of belief that like Dune Part 3 may get the same treatment because Dune has been such a big part of like popular culture since the first one came out. I think it's such an interesting like direction for him as well, because Incendies he wrote and directed, but then from Prisoners, Enemy, Sicario, Arrival, and Blade Runner, he didn't write. And then in the Dune movies, he's been the writer for all of them. So I think that's such like a also interesting switch up for him as well. With this crisp like camera shooting that you're talking about, he reminds me a lot of David Fincher in that way, to where a lot of David Fincher films have very like cut scenes to where it's like, instead of like flowing films where it's like cut to different shots of it, which I think is very similar. I don't know if he's specifically called out him, but seeing him in Fincher films, like I think of like Social Network, of how crisp that film is. I see a lot of it in these kind of movies as well.
Totally agree.
Yeah. He also has movies coming up, a Cleopatra film that he's got coming up that he wants to do about her. And then he's also slated, he already confirmed that he's going to do the next James Bond film. I think it's also very interesting.
Now you got me super excited. I'm a big James Bond franchise fan too.
Yeah. So he's got some big things coming up. He's slated to do those already for the next 5 years. And then he also has another project that he said that he needs to do very soon, or else it won't have the same effect. So he's still working. He's got some of the biggest name actors on his side too. So cool. Awesome. So the first movie that we'll go over is Sicario. Just a quick overview, kind of like how we did last week with Heat, just like stuff that we liked about it and pretty much our rating of it. So yeah, I'll just quickly talk about it and start off with Sicario is like one of my favorite films. I think it was his first film that I saw from him. And then I saw Prisoners right after. And both of them are like 5-star films to me. I like the rustic and grounded nature of Sicario and the involvement of like intelligence into it, of like, I don't know, pretty much bagging somebody and then bringing them back, questioning them, and then finding like sources to like get to what your end goal is. There's also like dark themes of like what's good and what's bad and what you have to do in order to like achieve your objective. I think Kate in the movie itself is a very tested, where she's like a middle ground character where she thinks she's good, but sometimes she's bad by doing bad decisions, but then they're pretty much using her the whole movie. I think she's just a pawn the whole movie as like an outsource of somebody to use against themselves and like pretty much be able to do what they want. Like Josh Brolin is like a very like evil character throughout the whole movie. And then Bennett Del Toro is more like a revengeful character where it's like, is he good? Is he bad? Or is it like, he's just trying to get back what happened to his family? What do you think, Justin?
Yeah, I liked this movie. It was pretty good overall. The action sequences were great. Specifically like the border crossing scene. I thought that was really cool when they were stuck on the bridge. Super, super claustrophobic and just made you kind of feel really nervous for everybody involved. I had a couple issues with this movie. I felt like Kate was kind of powerless the whole time, and I wish they would have gave her more to do. But I also felt that she should have figured out earlier that she was just being used. She'd been there for like 3 days and nobody asked her for help at all. That was my main issue. I would have been like, all right, I'm out then. Like, I have no reason to be here if you don't need me. Obviously, like, you have to keep her in the story to get to the end. The themes you were talking about of kind of, good versus evil and the blurred lines involved in that, they were good, especially towards the end. I just felt in the middle section of the movie, I wish I got more out of characters like Benicio del Toro, Josh Brolin. I just wish I got a little bit more, not necessarily dialogue, just more understanding of their specific blurred lines that they were inhabiting.
What do you think, Dad?
Yeah, Sicario franchise. I'm really a big fan of the whole franchise, but the first Sicario one, it was incredible. I think it brings in a lot of morality questions, right? What's right and how should we go after the bad guys? It brings in a lot of that. Did they do the right thing when you're going after the bad guys? Bring some of those questions into the way they're doing their sort of covert action. Sort of the results speak for themselves, though, right? So when you're going after the bad guys, sometimes it's ugly. And so just, you can hear some of those, even today's political environment. Are we doing the right thing? Some will say yes and some will say no. But I think the logistics, the way they walk through that, I thought was crisp. We talked earlier about this director. I really liked how he crisply came from scene to scene. Just fantastic job of cutting in and out of action and cutting back to quiet moments. Just that sort of, pulling you in, easing it off. I thought it just did a really nice job. I'm a big fan of that. I've probably seen that movie close to 10 times, probably, or maybe more now. Really like that movie.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting because pretty much the entire movie is through Kate's lens. And I think that's the whole point of like how you said Brolin and Del Toro didn't have enough like context to them. I think that was the whole point. Like they were a mystery to her. They're like, why did they get me into this? And that's because they knew they could use her. And they're not, and at the end of the day, they're CIA operators. And one of them is like an outsourced operator at best. He's like the most mysterious guys you could talk to. You're not supposed to know a lot about these guys. Like that's like a whole, like a big point of like anybody that's really into like those kind of like CIA, DAA, like those kind of people, like they're very unknown people. Like you could see them in a grocery store and not guess a single thing about them. But like little do you know that they're killers.
Well, it's the whole authorities thing, right? It's you need the FBI there, right? Because they're authorities. And so, yeah, they used her basically.
Yeah. And it probably happens a lot more than you think, especially down at the border areas, people just using the FBI because they think they have authority, but like they really don't know what's going on. And then I think that's her first like 3 days of it. She's like just confused. Like, why am I here? Why do they want me? Daniel Kaluuya's character is even confused. I think Kaluuya's character could notice that they're using her way before she does. She's like, no, like I'm doing something. And he's just like, you got to be careful.
Yeah.
I think he has a great performance in this, like a very underrated one. And then I think it kind of turns where she like notices what's going on, but then it's like, what is she going to do? Just leave? Like how is she going to back that up? Yeah, I think it's a very interesting movie that has a lot of context to it. If we could dive deep into it if we really wanted to, but I think the end itself like speaks for itself. And I think that for the second one, like the problem that I have with the second one is I think it goes too much into deep character of Del Toro. I think the mystery of him himself was what's so great about the first one. But cool. The rating I gave it was a 92 out of 100 or 9.2 out of 10.
Yeah, I gave it a 7.9 out of 10. Like I said, I enjoyed it. Just a few things that I didn't like. And honestly, I was probably a little let down just compared to Blade Runner and Incendies. After seeing those, it was kind of just brought me down a little bit more on it.
Yeah, I'd probably rank it a 9.5. To Justin's point, I would have liked a little bit more character development. I think it would have bolstered a little bit more. And
Yeah.
I think if they would have added a little bit more, it would have stretched out a little bit more, which I don't think the length had any problem at all. I think it had room to breathe a little bit more. For me, to Justin's point, I really would have liked a little bit more character development.
Yeah. I think the border crossing scene is still like one of my favorite scenes of any movie, though. It's just such a highly tenseful scene that is shot so beautifully. And then like the action sequences are like so real. And man,
the build up to the border crossing scene was really good too.
Yeah. I mean, the movie just starts off with a bang with like them uncovering this house, thinking they're doing a good thing. And then they, like how most like in our cartel movies starts, they end up uncovering something way bigger than what they expected. And then it kind of turns its head on. But cool. So yeah, that was like one of the movies that we want to point out. The first movie that or the two main movies that we did this week was Incendies, a movie that came out in 2010, a mainly French film. Almost all of it is in French. I think a little bit is in Arabic or Lebanese that starts to get into like once they're there, but very few. Most of it's French. And then the other movie was Blade Runner 2049. So first we'll start with Incendies. So Incendies pretty much set from a different time frame. So it's like time jumping. So with the daughter herself, their mom dies and they get a will saying that she will not have a gravestone until they find the truth and find your father and your brother. So it goes, the brother and they're twins, the daughter and the brother, first the brother isn't really into it. He doesn't want to join because he's tasked with finding the brother, like their long lost brother. And then while she's tasked with finding the father, but she goes all the way to Lebanon to try to find the father. And then they just go on this crazy journey. And then it time jumps of like the mom's journey itself, starting off with like having the brother from a unfound love or against their family. And then it just goes into something crazy. What did you guys think of like this whole storyline and like the script itself?
Yeah, I thought this movie was really great. My coworker, this is his favorite Denis movie, and he was like been begging me to watch this movie for probably close to 9-10 months now. He's like, you're gonna watch this movie and it's gonna sit with you for weeks just trying to figure out what you just watched. It was a really great story, and typically, I know we've talked about it on the podcast, I'm not a big fan of time jumping, but damn if they didn't do it like perfectly to imitate the mom's journey within the journey of the daughter as well. It was really well done.
Yeah, for me, I watched it today for the first time. So Bailey, because I've been busy the last couple of days watching the Grand Boys. But man, holy smokes! I wish I would have had watched this earlier because I'm just still reflecting to your point, Justin. I'm still like, what did I just watch? Because it is pretty amazing. You know, I'm probably typical American. All these American movies where you go opening scene where they're reading the wills and it's, got to go find these people and typical American. I'm thinking they're going to go down the street and see him in a bar and depressed, all that. And man, all of a sudden you start getting into this story development and it's just like, wow.
Yeah.
Then you start getting really in with the mom story, the time jumping. Like, I like time jumping if it's done right, but man, this one was done perfectly because,
Yeah.
just when you're like wanting to get in, you're like, and then they switch. You're like, I almost wish this was a little bit longer myself as well, just because you get so in depth, especially, we'll get talking about it, but when she's in prison, it's like, holy smokes. And then all of a sudden you're jumping back. I'm like, wait, what? And
Yeah.
so when it puts you on your edge like that, that's a great movie, right? It's like, wow,
Yeah.
what did that just happen? Now all of a sudden now I'm waiting for the next scene. Like, oh, wow. And
Yeah.
so yeah, I really enjoyed the movie. Really enjoyed it.
I think a movie that is like so set, like such complicated themes within it, like especially the war itself of like religious persecution and all that kind of stuff. I was never lost in this movie. I was never not a single point where I was like, I don't know what's going on. I was tracking everything that was going on. It was, yeah, right when you start off. Sadly, the twist at the end got ruined for me. Like scrolling Instagram a couple of weeks ago, like I like scrolled and I was like, and I like read like the description, because I was like, oh, I wonder what this means. And then the end was completely ruined for me. So coming into this movie, I was like, dang it, because I could imagine the buildup and then like when it happens. But it was like probably one of the biggest twists in like cinema history and like one of the most like saddening and like moral dilemmas that you can like even like possibly think about, because it's just like, I don't know. I mean, that's just not like what anything that we could imagine in like our society. Well, like for civil wars like that, like, I don't know. It's just a different kind of world.
Yeah. I thought like about halfway through the movie, I was like, this is going to be a stupid twist. It's just going to be the twins who were born in the prison, not their actual brother. I was like, that's a dumb twist. I can see that coming from a mile away. And boy, was I wrong. I mean,
Yeah.
holy shit. So for
Yeah.
those who haven't seen, please don't listen to this, but
Yeah. Spoiler free, spoilers.
Yeah. Basically, it was the son who had raped the mother in prison. And the brother was also their dad. And they find that out towards the end of the film. But wow, yeah, like you were saying, what an amazing twist and so well done. So perfectly led up to and so out of left field, really.
Yeah, because
you can tell when it's really done well too. When I'm not a big subtitles fan, of course, I don't know French, so I'd had the subtitles on. I didn't like halfway through the movie. I didn't even realize I was reading subtitles. I was so involved in the movie. So that's another marker of a great movie when you can have other audiences and other languages in the movie, not even realize you're reading. So yeah, I didn't realize halfway through. I wasn't even realizing I was reading subtitles. I was so involved in the movie.
Yeah. I think it's because the movie starts off with like him getting shaved, like the son, but like the movie when it first with the mom scene is like her giving birth or her love, Marwad or Mawad getting shot because like they're not supposed to be in love. And then she has birth. So like the son is born out of like true love, but she decides to give him up because she can't because she needs to go away. Right. And then she tries to find him again, but can never find him again. And then her twins are born out of like not love, like just pure hatred, torture. Like the movie ends with like her wanting them to like continue their life and like this pure hatred and revenge of their entire like birthing and like her entire story. She's like, I do not want you guys to continue with this. I want to end it with you guys knowing the truth and then just continue with what your life has been and like a peaceful life kind of thing. Which I think was really like unselfish way for her to think after everything that she learned, especially in the pool scene. She has a stroke and that's pretty much why she dies. But like, she's still able to like put her thoughts together in a way of like, let me not have my family hold on to this hatred in their life, but rather move on from it.
Yeah, the letters at the end was like, wow, almost like telling her son, on the one hand, telling the father of the two kids one, message, and then to her son, basically telling him another message. Just, yeah, to the very end, just very good.
I gave the plot a 9 out of 10. Thought the very minuscule thing that I have against it, I think right towards the end of them finding out like the big reveal was a lot of coincidences like started popping up for them. Like the researcher and the like people that they're getting it from all of a sudden was able to find everything within like 5 minutes of the film. And I was like, you had this like beautiful, again, like maybe a couple more minutes of like them actually figuring stuff out themselves and not having like this interlinked person finding it all out. That's like my very minuscule hit. I still rated it 9 out of 10.
Yeah. I mean, like we were saying, time definitely wasn't an issue for this movie either. I think you could have added 30 more minutes of a little bit of digging and it would have been okay as well.
Yeah.
I did see those coincidences as well.
Because I think the brother himself didn't do much research until like the very end. For like half the movie, she's just like going through it, like getting pretty much like yelled out of a hut because like the family does not recognize her existing pretty much in like their society. And like she's just confused as to why, while like the brother's just back in Canada, just like straight chilling. And he's like, maybe I should probably join them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I ranked plot pretty high myself, 9.7. I was a little confused why so much hostility from the son. I wish I would have known that a little bit more because it seemed like from the get-go, he's just frustrated from the get-go. And I didn't know if, where that was coming from.
Yeah.
I wish I would have understood that a little bit more. All the rest of it really come together. Like you said, it was a little bit rushed on all the pieces, like you said, Tyler, come together throughout. I thought it was really well structured about how they rolled the plot out and twist and changing. So, as I got myself deep, I was going in deeper, especially as they were showing her experiences, and then the daughter's heading over there to do exploring. And then the son finally makes it over there. I just really like how he laid it out and rolled it out. I just wish I would understand the origin, why the son was so frustrated with the mom. I didn't quite get all that.
I think he was mainly obviously just frustrated by the grief, but I also think he blamed the sister a little bit. There was one line where he kind of mentioned, like, you were there for her accident, like, what happened kind of thing, or something along those lines. So I think he was kind of frustrated with the sister for that reason as well. But yeah, that's what it seemed like to me.
Well, yeah, it also sounded like the sister went away for a little bit after the accident while he was there the whole time after, like, while she was like going through the stroke and like pretty much leading up to her death. So he went through like the rough part, I guess, like while she was sick, while the sister was a little bit away. So maybe there's a little bit animosity towards the daughter or like the sister, and then that animosity, like that he was there for the rough time. And like, maybe, I don't know, when people are sick, they say stuff they don't mean, and you never know what could have happened behind the scenes. I think showing it a little bit too much would have probably taken away like the point of the movie, which was like kind of accepting forgiveness and then also like moving on. Because like you can imagine like like after seeing her whole story, she could have just lived the rest of her life with pure hatred. And then like after that stroke, I'm sure figuring out what happened to you, like I don't know how any person can properly react to that. Figuring that out. I gave it a 10 out of 10. I just thought great acting, but as well as like the characters in depth, I think all had like their own different roles. The mom itself, I think it was like such like a profound character that really stuck with me, even like days after watching the movie, probably weeks, of like everything she went through. Like the scene of like in the bus when like she's trying to save the daughter, but she can't because that's her mom. Like she's just a kid. She doesn't understand what's really going on. But like, I can't imagine. What do you guys think?
Yeah, that scene was rough to watch. And I think, it did so much character for the mom. Like it did so much character development for that mom just in that one scene, seeing the good and bad of both sides, kind of understanding that there is no right side in war. Like both sides are going to do terrible things. And yeah, it was a rough watch.
Yeah, I ranked a 9.8. I thought it was really strong. All the characters sort of drove back to the core, plot and theme of the movie. So I liked how all the sort of characters, even the bus scene, that was hard to watch. That, how'd she know to go Christian at that point? Very dynamic and just all the characters. You just hated those soldiers at that point. So it just drew you into that scene and those characters.
Yeah.
Just the way he drew you into each scene and that character, why they were there and what was going on, just tied back ultimately to the story, which I always like when they tie each character and scenes back to, the storyboard.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a different type of world that we just aren't used to, that I think like, it's like, who do you blame? And it's like the only people you can really blame is like the leading officials that start these wars against each other. It's really just persecution. And then like all of these soldiers are just, it's hard to have your mind for yourselves when you just grow up in hatred. And it's like, I don't know. It's like really like who to judge at this point. And it's like really saddening to think about. And sadly, like that area is still primarily like that in the world. Cinematography, I gave it a 7 out of 10, and it's nothing like really hit on it. It's just, you could tell that this film, he doesn't have as much money that he's working with these other films. These other films are just so beautifully shot. It's hard not to see this movie and not notice that it's like the HD wise of it, Like the definition of it is just not as well as crazy as his other movies have been. I still think it was beautifully shot. He did what he did with it. Just compared to his other ones, just not at that elite level.
Yeah, I agree. It just seemed like more of a budget thing. There was some pretty beautiful shots, like, where she's sitting there in the desert watching, like just waiting till the bus smolders out just to remember all those people. I thought that was a really deep scene, but like you said, just a budget thing, definitely.
Yeah, I gave it a solid 8.9. I thought it was a solid, it felt realism. And from that perspective, like you said, wasn't high def or anything like that to your dollars per comments you guys are both commenting on. But I thought the way they shot it, it's good angles and good to where you felt like the person was, you're there with them, which I always like.
Yeah. You could also see like the beginning of him using colors in a certain way with like how dark Canada looks. But then in the flashback scene before her stroke, how bright it is and like how joyful it is. And then, but everything else with Canada is super dark. And from that point on until the very end of the movie when she gives back the letters and then it's brighter light in Canada. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. I like to see like how it starts off with like this innocence of like that flashback scene and then it's dark throughout in Canada. And then at the end, it's like that light again, kind of like foreshadowing to like how they need to move on kind of thing. The dialogue, I gave it an 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. Again, like reading closed captions, that really telltale sign of like a really good movie because either you get frustrated by it or you just don't even notice it going on anymore. Which this is like a good example of this. The notary himself, like the person that she was secretary for, good note of like death is never the end of the story. It always leaves tracks. And then the big reveal of it was like 1 + 1 doesn't make 1. And then she realizes what that means and just crazy.
Yeah, I think the dialogue overall was pretty good. Yeah. Even though, we're watching closed captioning the whole time, I thought it was pretty well done. Kept me interested the whole time and aware.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gave it a 9.2. I thought, it was sparse, but very piercing in some regard back to the plot. So, push the storyboard forward. Sometimes, in some of these kind of movies when you're telling a story, you get lost and you're trying to figure out where you are. I was never lost in the dialogue. I was progressing the story to understand the story more than get me more confused or less understanding of where we are in the plot and story. So I always like the dog when it's continually building, not confusing you with sidetracks and all that.
Acting, I gave it 9 out of 10. I mean, I've never really seen these actors in anything, but that's because they're mainly Canadian-based French actors. But I thought very well done. And then also like, I don't know, like family-wise, they all look like they would be the daughters of of her. So like they look all very like alike and all that. And honestly, just like the face acting, because again, when you're translating it over, you can still see their face acting, but it's really hard when you're matching up words, but you could still see it in their face of how they respond to it. And then like the gasp of the daughter itself, I think is like always going to stick with me of like reaction of like probably like one of the biggest gasps of like revealing of a story. And then for sound effects, I gave it a 10 out of 10. I think specifically the soundtrack to this and like the Radiohead, Is This Your War? I think that was like one of the best songs that you could use for this kind of film. Like that it started off with it and then like throughout the movie it was using it as well. And then at the end it uses it. And I was like, dang, like Radiohead is just like, they just be cooking with using this in movies. Like any movie that uses a Radiohead movie usually uses it well, and it's usually really well done.
Yeah, it was really well done in this movie. That scene was really deep, kind of her walking through the same area we just saw her mom walking through. Yeah, it's good. And then I felt like I just had to listen to that for the next couple of days and just think about that movie again.
Yeah. I don't think I'll ever be able to listen to that song without thinking about this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gave it a solid 9. I thought it was really good. It sort of draw me back to some of the Sicario movie because it sort of resembled a little bit some of the walking scenes and stuff, some of the darker, sort of lower sound type effects. I really liked it.
Yeah. A lot of use of like a violin as well, which I think is really unique. Set design, I gave it 10 out of 10. They shot it almost entirely in Canada, except they did 15 days in Jordan. So all the shots that are shot in Jordan, they just did that in 15 days, which again talks about budget. And he's also known for going under budget for all of his films, which that also tells people like how good of a director you are if you're able to go under budget, under time, and always meet your deadlines, which I think even speaks more about him being able to do that in 15 days, because I'm sure they needed a bunch of visas because Jordan is not an area that you're just allowed to film in all the time. So I think that was really cool as well.
Yeah, that is really neat. I didn't know all that, but I have heard from other movies that he's pretty good at getting stuff done on time and also staying on budget pretty well.
And then directing, I gave it a 9 out of 10. I mean, he is one of my favorite directors. I would say he's probably my favorite one currently today, just because all of his films really speak to me in a certain way. And I think this one just hits up there right with me. And the fact that this is like right before he makes the transition to like more English making film, I think is very cool. And then also like he wrote the entire script, and he didn't write another one until the Dune franchise, which I think is also very unique for him as well.
Yeah, I mean, this movie shows that, he can do it. And I like to think somebody probably saw this and was like, let him just take over the screenplay as well for Dune.
Yeah, I gave a solid 9.8. I mean, it's really well done. I like the pacing. I like the tone of it. I like the revelations as he's throughout the plot rollout. Really fantastic job done.
Yeah, it's crazy that he goes from this and then goes to like Prisoners, of a film with like Hugh Jackman and Jake Gyllenhaal, like two big actors at that time. Hugh Jackman just coming off of Wolverine, Jake Gyllenhaal coming off of like Zodiac and all that different stuff that he did in the late 2000s. And like to get those two right after this, it means that like the studios were like, yep, we recognize you. And it's crazy. That year, like this got nominated for best and like international film that year, which was pretty unique itself, but it was alongside other directors of Inarritu, who made Birdman and is coming out with the new movie Digger, and also came out with The Revenant. Then also Yorgos Lanthimos, who came out with like Poor Things, Begonia this year. So like that year itself, what I think was really unique, that like two other big directors that are now making big movies every year, that they all have been nominated for best directors itself. So then for editing, I gave it an 8 out of 10. I thought it was really well edited. Again, not yourself getting confused, but rather just like keeping up with the story itself.
Yeah, I think the editing was done well, especially, we talked about the time jumps. I think it was perfectly done. Wasn't too much, didn't, make me lost or anything like that. It was pretty well done.
Yeah, I gave it 9.5. I thought it was really done. The way it sort of cut didn't leave you sort of questioning where you were previously, in whatever character you were jumping to. Because sometimes you jump and you're like, well, why did they jump there?
Yeah.
This is like you continued on where they were. So it's like, I love it when they do that accurately, when you're picking right up where you left off before with that character. So
yeah, I agree. Again, it's like talking about like how he shoots it, but also like how he edits movies to make it look very neat. Theme for the last one, I think I gave it a 10 out of 10. I don't know. Like the themes in this movie are like so like dark, but at the same time so real, and like makes you like justify morality of like situations that you put yourself in, and like really like putting yourself out there as a director. Cause like if you don't hit on this movie with these kind of themes, you're like kind of like blacklisted as a director, I think, if you don't do this well, because these are such sensitive like themes into it throughout. And I don't think he touches around the subject, but rather he goes like right for it. And what I think you really should do when it comes to these kind of.
Yeah, I see him not being scared to go for some really deep subjects in all the movies I've seen from him. And this one was definitely no different. Just seeing kind of the themes of generational trauma and the mom wanting her kids to fight that was really great and really well done in this.
Yeah, I gave it 10. I thought it was, you tackle a lot of stuff, right? War, identity, trauma, forgiveness, cyclical sort of violence, and then the whole morality of this, basic premise of some of the plot. Just, tackling a lot of stuff and in depth capturing and not slightly, skimming across the top. So, yeah, I thought the theme was really locked in.
Overall, I gave it a 90 out of 100 or 9 out of 10. I really like this film. It really made me enjoy him as a director even more, because this was like the one I was really missing out on. Yeah.
Yeah, I gave it a 92 out of 100. Same thing. I thought it was pretty great. I'm glad I watched it, and I definitely would like to go back and see more, just to kind of look at different hints and stuff towards the plot twist that I might have missed out on the first time.
Yeah, I ranked a 9.4 out of 10. Really great movie. I usually don't rank movies up in the 9s unless I really like them. So really great movie.
Got to turn you around because usually you don't like movies that you have to read. So
Right, exactly. Like I said, I had to take a break halfway through because the grandboys were leaving. And so when I came back, I was like, I didn't realize I was reading subtitles. I was just like, because I'm usually lazy that way, but this one really got you into the movie.
I got a couple other movies for you to read, like that you have to read closed caption, but I highly recommend it as well. We've done one of them on this podcast, but there's some movies out there. Just because you don't speak English doesn't mean they're still gas. Cool. Now we'll get into Blade Runner, and Justin will take the keys.
Yeah, I kind of, before getting into this, after watching it, I read a bunch of stuff about it, and this movie's kind of a miracle, in my opinion, that it happened. So Ridley Scott, the original director of Blade Runner, dropped this movie like instantly upon asking. He wanted nothing to do with it. They asked Christopher Nolan, and he said he felt like he just wouldn't do the movie justice, which is a crazy statement from Christopher Nolan.
Yeah.
And then Roger Deakins, he does a lot of Denis cinematography in most of his movies. He actually worked with Denis a lot on the pre-production just to really get the emphasis on this universe and kind of truly understand how to work cinematography in on this, kind of science fiction world, which I thought was really cool because from what I hear, that doesn't typically happen. Also, Johan Johansson, he was the original score designer. He left mid-production because of issues with Denis and him, I guess, happened. And then was replaced by Hans Zimmer, who was on his own concert tour at the time. So he did most of the score, not even seeing the movie or being on set with the team, just kind of on the road, which I thought was pretty interesting and funny.
Yeah. Hans.
Yeah. Getting into the plot, I gave it a 10. Obviously, it follows LAPD Blade Runner K. He is a Nexus 9 replicant from what I hear that is, like the most up-to-date model of replicant compared to the original Blade Runner. He kind of discovers a secret replicant and kind of goes down this path, hearing about, a miracle that happened where two replicants bred together. I'm not going to, go through the whole plot because it does take a lot of twists and turns throughout the whole movie. But overall, I gave the plot a 10. And what'd you guys think?
Overall, I thought this was a really I never seen the first one. I should probably watch the first one. I think it would help understand this movie a little bit more. Even though I think this movie is a good standalone, especially like the opening thing, pretty much giving you the rundown. I don't think it's mandatory to see the first one. For me, I like the plot. I gave it a 7 out of 10, mainly because my biggest points against it is I think there are some low periods throughout the movie that this is my second watch of it, and I had the same pretty much rating for it the second time where I get kind of bored. And I hate to say that about like this big film, but there are certain periods where I just it kind of loses me for a little bit, and then it gets me back into it, and it loses me for a little bit, and then gets me back into it. Like right from the go with Dave Bautista's scene, it has me drawn in. I'm like, let's go. And then it kind of draws itself back again, goes back in, draws back out, draws me back in. I don't know. It's like a seesaw for me, like being into it and not being into it. I still gave it a 7 out of 10 because I still enjoyed the parts that I was into it as far as like script wise, but I don't think it's as tight as a film as some of his earlier ones where he specifically like Prisoners, Incendie, where I think they're a little bit tighter than this one is, if that makes sense. What do you think?
Yeah, I gave it an 8 out of 10. I thought it was solid plot. There's parts, it was a long movie, I will say that. And there were some parts in the middle where the main honcho guy of the newer generation, I wasn't quite following that part of the storyboard. I was getting a little lost there, what we were doing there. I took it he was evil, but I'm not sure why he was evil.
Yeah.
So there's a couple holes in the plot for me that I thought if they would have maybe explained those a little more or had a little bit more in those verses, because I think they did a lot of scenes getting to places. I think if we cut down on some of those, a little bit more character development in some of those other areas, and would have been a little tighter for me anyways. Solid 8 out of 10 though. I still thought it was really good.
Yeah, and then getting into characters, I gave it a 9. I thought everybody was really great in this. Obviously, you have Ryan Gosling as Officer K, follows him throughout the whole movie. I thought he was pretty great. Harrison Ford's character, we don't see till really the end, but it felt like this was the one sequel that Harrison Ford actually gave a crap about. I mean, I've seen him in Indiana Jones and Star Wars, and he just obviously there for the money, but it seemed like he was interested in this role, especially the scene with Jared Leto at the end. That was some of the best acting I've seen from Harrison Ford as of late. it's kind of a shame Jared Leto is dragging him down there. And then you have Ana de Armas as Joyce, Leah Hoeks as Love, and Mackenzie Davis as Mariette. I thought they were all great as well in the supporting cast.
I really liked most of the characters except for Jared Leto's character. Was like the biggest like standout dud of the group. I think it's partly his acting, and then I think it's also the character itself. I just don't think there's enough background for him as a character to really understand why he's such a scary thing, other than the first opening scene of him getting a replica and then stabbing him, and then he's like has contacts in, and you're like, okay. I have a weird feeling about this that Denny casted him. Apparently, he cast him out of Suicide Squad and was like, "Oh, he's got this like kind of like gangster part to him." And then he got him, and then he saw him start to be the character, and he was kind of stuck with him at a certain point. He was like, "Oh,
yeah."
I feel like there's a lot more shot with him, and like such a more important like details of him as a character that he just took out of the film because he's like, he's kind of taking away from the movie.
Yeah.
What do you think of the character's dad?
Yeah, I gave him 9.4. I thought all the characters really did a fantastic job, minus the ones you were just talking to. I was like, I don't even know why some of the scenes, like him and Harrison Ford, when he touched his hand, I'm thinking like in real life, he was like, "Why are you touching me?" Like, I'm wondering what, because he grabbed his hand, and you could tell actor-wise, I think that character was supposed to be like taken back. But I think realistically, he was like, "Don't touch me, dude." Like,
yeah,
I think in real life, he was probably like, "You didn't need to do that, dude." But yeah, all the actors, I thought they did a fantastic job.
Yeah, Kay is such a good character, like such a solid character.
For cinematography, I think this was the main highlight for me. If I could give it more than a 10, I definitely would. Yeah, Roger Deakins absolutely killed here. I definitely had to help that he was like involved so early on in the story. Very distinct color palettes used. Obviously, you had like the orange red for Vegas, which looked amazing with the haze.
Yeah.
Green for Joy pretty much all the time. The city of LA looked amazing. And even San Diego kind of being the trash town looked amazing. Lighting was like so perfect throughout the whole movie. It said so much about Kay as a character throughout the movie. And yeah, it was just so well done. You get in, I know it's more editing, but you get into the scenes of Joy talking in his apartment and you see like the light flickering through her neck behind her. It was just, it was so well done. All of the camera work in this movie.
Yeah, this is probably one of the most beautiful movies that's ever been made. It's just insane how well. In movies like crazy when you're like, how did they film this? Like, how did they actually film this? Actually, how did they do this? And Roger Deakins, thank God he won the Oscar that year, because anybody else, like, it's just insane how they filmed this. Almost entirely, like the use of colors, the Las Vegas, like, it's just, man, I don't know how else to say it other than it's just like beautiful.
Yeah, I gave it 10 too. I'm trying to remember even stuff that was even close to more recently, because we just went and saw the recent Avatar, which is all sort of CGI almost, per se, where this is a mix of both, which is just fantastic. To your point, some of the stuff are like, I don't know how in the world they do it, man, because it's like you got real people in these sort of mesh of CGI and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah, and like Denny himself, like, you guys see the Dude movies. I mean, those movies are also shot beautifully. Like, they're insane how they're shot. And I mean, all the other movies that we just talked about too, like, he's got an art for him, and like he knows how to pick a good cinematographer, but he also knows how to shoot a film pretty dang well.
Yeah.
That's why he stands out to me so much.
Getting into the dialogue, I gave it a 9. I thought it was pretty great. My favorite line was Kay when he said interlinked cells, interlinked cells, interlinked. No, I'm just kidding. He said, I've never retired something that was born before. I thought that was pretty great. Had such deep meaning for him, trying to understand what it is to be human. It was pretty great throughout the whole movie. And it was pretty great dialogue all around, besides -1 for Jared Leto.
Yeah. Rick Deckard, like, sometimes to love someone, you got to be a stranger. I thought that like was way deeper than what like subsurface, like what the more you read into it. And I'm sure if you watch the first one, maybe it even means something even more deeper, because it sounds like he had to make a big sacrifice like throughout his life in order for the ones that he loved. Yeah, the dialogue I thought was really cool. with it all brought into it. Again, it's just like, maybe if they just casted somebody else, I mean, we're about to probably talk about acting, but yeah.
Yeah, I thought the dialogue was outstanding. I gave it 9.4. I thought it was almost it drove me in when they found out he was not the sort of son of this born, with the horse and everything else. I just felt so down with him. He's like, "Oh, I thought I was the one." They're like, "No, we all got that memory. Don't, that's not a big deal."
Yeah, yeah. Kind of felt
And
bad
then,
for him.
Yeah, that was rough.
Yeah.
But I mean, it brings up a good point, as humans, we all want to be the one, we all want to be a sports star or famous musician but we have to, then realize that everybody has that same dream. Everyone wants to be the top human, and we can't all be it. Getting into set design, I gave it a 10. I thought the set design was amazing. They used so many practical builds for the city of LA, and I kind of watched some behind the scenes video of them making that, getting the shots right. It looked so amazing, especially, just the overall use of color, which I'm going to keep talking about. Las Vegas also looked amazing. Very minimal CGI there, especially.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just such a great dystopian look.
Yeah. They actually shot the Vegas scenes in the Budapest Stock Exchange, which I thought was unique. And like a good use of just like using these random, like beautiful areas to like represent something else. Cause it looks very like Tokyoan, I guess, like how else to describe it? Like very Japanese, like style, especially like where like he lives. But I didn't get to see where they actually like filmed it at, but I'm guessing it wasn't Tokyo.
It reminded me of Akira in a way.
Yeah, no, it definitely had like connections to it. And I'm pretty sure when we talked about Akira, like Blade Runner specifically pointed out Akira being like a inspiration for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought damn near perfect for me. 9.8 for me. Very authentic and sort of didn't feel imitation-y, at all. So I thought it was really authentic to that time period they're trying to depict. So really solid set design.
Getting into acting, I gave it a 9. I think this was some of Gosling's best work. I think it has something to do with kind of that blank stare he does so well, especially when playing a human, not human kind of, clone type thing.
Yeah.
It was really great for him, especially with his struggle to, be more human and try to figure out what being a human is. Again, I felt like Harrison Ford actually cared for this, and then unfortunately -1 for Jared Leto.
Yeah. I would argue, if we just imagine Jake Gyllenhaal or Keanu Reeves. I know Dad doesn't like Keanu Reeves, but like I think this is like a perfect kind of character for Keanu. Like kind of fits into like his weirdo Matrix self that he's really well in. Like either one of those, totally 10 times better than what Jared Leto put out on the table here. I'm a big hater of Jared Leto. I'll just say it right now. I don't think I've liked a single film of his, and maybe Dallas Buyers Club may change that for me, but almost every film I've seen him in, I just like, why is he an actor? Why do people keep giving him films?
Yeah, I gave it a 9 because of Leto. It sort of took it down the scores for me because I'm a huge Ryan Gosling fan. I mean, I think his work has been really outstanding. So yeah, I think all the other acting was really good. Just the one drew it down for me.
Yeah, I think I would argue this is his best performance. And the fact that he wasn't even nominated is kind of a shame, like at all. And the fact that he got nominated for Barbie is also kind of a shame. Not hating on Barbie, I'm just saying comparing his role as Ken to like Kay is just like kind of disgraceful, like that you would nominate him for one and not the other. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I think he's just so great in this film. He is the film. Like, without him being crazy, like, the film isn't good. Like he is the film.
For directing, I gave it a 10. I think Denis absolutely killed every aspect of this movie. Beautifully done plot, carried through very well. Amazing pacing. I never felt like it dragged for me personally, and a fun way to get across really deep themes like we've seen him do in other movies as well.
Yeah. I've rated it a little lower, but that's based on what I said at the beginning, where I thought it was a little more loose of a script and loose, a little bit more lull periods compared to his other films. So that's like my biggest hit on it, because I could see how tight his films can be, and this one is a little bit different, which we can also talk about when we get into like the Dune movies as well, because I think once he moved on from like more grounded films into like these science fiction films, he has a little bit more, he has to describe the background of stories and like what's going on. That kind of takes away from the tightness of it itself.
Yeah, I thought you did an outstanding job. I gave it 9.5. I thought it was really good. Got a little long for me, a couple of periods, but Still really solid job. I thought he balanced really sort of the reverence and innovation with the clarity really well.
Getting into soundtrack, I gave this a 10. I think Hans Zimmer absolutely killed this movie. I think it fully embodied just the overall, like we kind of mentioned, like the Neo Tokyo type feel of the city. I felt my room shaking. I had this turned up so loud and it was amazing to watch.
Yeah.
It went so well with so many scenes, whether it was the action scenes, whether it was flying through the city, whether it was going to San Diego to try to discover, his past. It didn't matter. Every part of this soundtrack I absolutely killed.
Yeah. No, it's beautiful. I mean, Hans Zimmer, he works with like some of the best. And every single one of his films, I feel like you need to have your volume almost at the top volume that you can have to really feel the full effect. Like if they re-release this in theaters, I'm probably going to see any of these 8 movies just because I think a theater experience of seeing this would be insane. Like seeing this in IMAX probably goes crazy. Hopefully when they come out with the Dune movie, they like release these other films, but I doubt it. They'll release the first 2 Dunes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gave him 9.8. I thought it was really well. Complements the film's mood as you're going throughout the movie versus, trying to overpower it. And so I think it really complemented the scenes. Even when he's flying into San Diego or wherever, I just thought it was really well done.
Yeah. Getting into theme, I gave this a 10 as well. I think this movie explores such deep themes and questions, identity, humanity, memory, and just general consciousness and living beings. Just kind of what defines the life of K, being somewhat of a robot. He doesn't see himself more than joy in the beginning. He sees them both as inadequate to feel human connection. And then eventually he gets there because he believes that he's turning human, but he realizes in the end that he never needed that anyway to truly live and to truly be human. I just thought it was so well done, such a deep story with the plot twist of him not being the son and it being the girl creating the memories. I thought it was beautifully done just to show that, you don't have to try to be a human just because you're not. You are human, and he kind of discovers that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this movie really just goes after the fact of like, what does it mean to be human? Like, what actually defines yourself to be human? And then, like, the steps to take. And I just thought, and like, what love is really as well. Like, what you were willing to do for love as well. Not like grand nuance like type of themes, but something that I think is touched on a little bit deeper and at a different sense in this movie.
Yeah, I really love the theme as well. I give it a solid 10 because you're tackling a lot of deep stuff, right? Identity, memory, even. They even went into some, what's the context of memories? You have these artificial memories, you have these locked in stone. How can you tell true memory? I just really like that exploration, the purpose, humanity, and for a sequel. Yeah, I mean, it's really dove into a lot of different humanity type things in a really contextual way, which I really like.
And then getting into editing, I also gave it a 10. There was one scene, I don't know if you guys recall, the ashes from the fire after he was saved panned into city lights. And that was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in a movie in my life. It was so cool. I found myself watching it multiple times over after I finished the movie. I was like, I've never seen anything like that done so well. And just goes to show what, Denny can do with a big budget like this.
Yeah. But I mean, it won Best Visual Effects and Best Cinematography at the Academy Awards for a reason, because in the editing room, they just cooked. It didn't get recognized for any other big categories, which is kind of sad. Like looking back at the year, definitely should have got nominated for like Best Picture at least. Gosling should have got a mention. Denny should have got a mention at Best Director, but it won like some of the more sub categories for a reason because the editing room went insane.
Yeah, I love the editing. I mean, you're cutting from one of the scenes, you're cutting to this clerk at a table you're like, where is this place? It's just very cool editing. You're at some kind of desk where the guy's trying to research the history of some of the persons he's going after. Just amazing editing. I thought it was really good.
Overall, I think this movie might be my highest movie on the podcast yet. I gave it a 9.7 out of 10. I think those 3 points all mainly stemmed from Jared Leto and his character in this movie. Besides that, this is almost near perfect movie for me. I know it's not going to be that way for everybody, but this is completely my vibe. I like that, futuristic city type movie. The cinematography was great. I'm big on soundtrack. It was amazing. Great themes. Overall, this is definitely a top 5 for me all time.
Yeah, I gave it an 8.7 out of 10 or 87 out of 100. Not as high on it as Justin is, but like I still really like it. Still like a great film. And I think him as a director itself, it's crazy to say that like he has 7 films, in my opinion, that a lot of people would argue would be their number one.
Yeah.
And not many directors you could say that about, even talking about like him getting into that elite category.
Yeah, I gave it a solid 9. I thought it was definitely well worth. I mean, I'll recommend it because I'll paraphrase it by saying it's a long movie, but it's a great movie to watch, visually, and the plot and twist. And Ryan alone, like you said, he puts in an outstanding performance. And so definitely a solid movie.
Yeah. Awesome. So just talked about his movies. Also Blade Runner, they're coming out with the show this year. I don't know what they could possibly do with this story other than, I guess, the world itself. It just wants it to go in like a different route.
Yeah.
I think Ridley Scott is like a producer on it, so maybe that's some trust into it, but Denny has nothing to do with it. Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I think some projects are meant to be left alone, and I think this is just an example of Hollywood trying to scratch something.
Yeah.
That
I guess one thing is they mentioned a lot of the off-world stuff going on, how Earth is kind of like the poor people planet now.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to, you could kind of get into that and, where that's all headed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just leave it alone, in my opinion.
Yeah. Cool. We're going to do like a quick exercise of ranking Denny movies. We're only going to rank 8 of them. We're not going to rank some of his earlier films like Polytechnique and Maelstrom or August 32nd on Earth. We're not going to rank those 3 just because neither of us have seen them. And it's really like before he gets super popular, even though they're rated pretty well on Rotten Tomatoes with Polytechnique having 87%. But cool. This time we're not going to like do like separate things just because Justin has seen 4 and I think my dad has seen like 4.5-ish. I've seen all 8. So I think, but Justin is using his coworkers' rankings because his coworkers also seen all.
Yeah, my coworker is a big Denny fan. He couldn't make it on the podcast this week, but I did tell him I would give his full Denny ranking for everybody.
Yeah, I think there's a clear number 8, and I'm just going to put it out there. Enemy. I think it's a clear number 8.
That's what he had as well.
Yeah, I've seen it. I think it has a lot of potential. It's Jake Gyllenhaal playing like kind of twins that kind of battle each other throughout this, like try to take each other's identity. And then I think the end is just like, what is going on? I don't want to ruin it, but like, it's just like the end is literally like, huh? Now from here on out, I think this is where it gets lost. Do you want to say his rankings first? So I can put them in my own head.
Yeah, I'm just going to read through them 8 to 1.
Okay.
So 8, we had Enemy, 7, Sicario, 6, Dune 1, 5, Prisoners, 4, Dune 2, 3, Blade Runner, 2, Arrival, and 1, Incendies. So definitely very different from where I think you're about to go here.
Yeah, a little bit. Let me pull mine up real quick. Yeah, so for me, it's 7 is Dune 1, 6 is Blade Runner, 5 is Dune Part 2, 4 is Incendies, 3 is Arrival, 2 Sicario, number 1 Prisoners.
Yeah.
You can clearly tell that I have a very specific way I like Denny films, his more grounded films, I would say. It'd like be the top 4 being more grounded. How would you rate the 4 that you've seen?
I would definitely say, so I'd probably be Sicario at 4. Yeah, dude, that's hard. Probably Prisoners 3, Incendies, and Blade Runner at 1.
What about you, Dad?
Big Sicario fan, so it's going to be my number 1. Incendies number 2, Prisoners number 3, Blade Runner number 4, and I saw a partial Dune. I still want to finish Dune 1. I do want to finish that one, but that'd probably be my last.
Okay. So I'm thinking number 7, I think should be Dune, the first one, mainly because I think it's a lot of story building in the film. It's and a lot less context. I will say I'm not the biggest fan of Dune movies, mainly because I think Timothée Chalamet is like super talented, but I would argue this is not some of his best work. I think it's miscasted, if I would say anything, not putting him in the best situation because he gained confidence throughout the movie. And the only way that it really shows is the way he walks, not actually in the way he talks. From here on out, Man, I don't know. I feel like most of us, I don't know, Prisoners is my number one, so it's kind of hard. I say from here, go Dune Part 2.
Yeah.
I just think for me, again, not the biggest fan. Sounds like your coworker also isn't like the biggest fan of them either. Like he still like great, but it's just, I feel like people either love Dune or they're like mid on it. Like it's like mid-level for them. So we'll see if we get some hate in the comments about where we rank Dune.
No, you guys don't get any rough comments.
Yeah, no, never. Okay. From here on out, this is where it gets tough because I feel like to do it justice, the top 4 should be in some iteration, should be Sicario, Prisoners, Blade Runner, and Incendies because it's 4 people's number ones, you know? Does that sound fair?
Definitely sounds fair to me.
So Arrival would be number 5. This is good.
People might kill us for that.
Yeah. Next week, we're doing Arrival on the podcast, so we may have different opinions once Justin actually sees it. I'm halfway through it right now. I love it. It's my personal number 3. It's a 4.5 star, like close to 5-star movie for me. I think it's still great. Not saying we don't like it, but we're ranking like a guy that has some crazy movies. From here on out, I personally think Incendies, Blade Runner. I think Incendies, I would personally go with number 4, and then Blade Runner number 3. Personally.
Yeah, that sounds good.
But where did you rank Incendies again?
I made Sundays my number 2.
There's my number 2 as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking since I'm the one higher on Prisoners than everyone else, I'm thinking Prisoners and then Blade Runner and then Sicario and then Incendies. Because I think we're all really high on Incendies, with one being number 1, while Sicario, me and my dad are really high on. You're low on Justin. You're really high on Blade Runner, while we're a little bit lower. And then I'm the only one that's really high on Prisoners.
Yeah. No, I like Prisoners too. It's just, it's hard with his movies.
Yeah. Like I would be fine with swapping Prisoners and Blade Runner, but I don't know. It's like, what kind of taste are you in? Those are two totally different kind of movies. It's just two totally astronomical. Okay. So number 1, Incendies. Number 2, Sicario. Number 3, Blade Runner. Number 4, Prisoners.
I like that lineup, yeah.
All right. Cool. All right, we ranked our top 8. So the top 8 being Incendies number 1, Sicario number 2, number 3, Blade Runner, number 4, Prisoners, number 5, Arrival, number 6, Dune 2, number 7, Dune 1, and number 8, Enemy. I'm ready to get roasted in the comments. That's good. It's going to happen no matter what. Some people live or die for these movies. I think the Dune fans may come after us.
Yeah.
Will actually happen.
I suspect you're going to have a couple Dune ones. Yep.
Yeah.
A lot of Dune people on TikTok for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Looking forward to that. Cool. So the next thing that we're doing is we're going to do a sequel movie draft. I'm looking forward to this because there's a lot of great sequels and there's a lot of shitty ones as well that we could just like not talk about, but also be like, why did they do this? But pretty much to count as a sequel, it needs to be a 2 of something. So it needs to be a 2 of like some type of trilogy, or it has the 2 in the name itself. But we'll talk about it when it comes up to it. Like some stuff may not count as others. Because there's a bunch of lists out there that some of them, it's like the 4th iteration of a movie or something like that. And I'm like, how does that count? But so the categories being Oscar nominated, action thriller, drama or horror, comedy or animation, legacy sequel, which legacy sequel is defined as like, it wasn't originally planned, or it's like years to decades afterwards, which we can also talk about if it counts or not. I think there is a list out there that's pretty solid, but like what counts as a legacy sequel and what doesn't. And then over 90 on Rotten Tomatoes. And then, of course, the wild. It's going to be a snake style draft. And we got the magic wheel of names that always likes to pick Justin. But the last 2, it's been me. So we'll see. It's Justin. So Justin gets to go first.
Let's go.
Should have known it. Should have known that was going to happen. Let's see who gets to go second. I personally do not want to go second. And of course, when I say that, I get to go second. Yay. All right. So it's going to be Justin, me, and then my dad, and then snake style. So just wraps rack up. Cool.
Go first. I'm going to take arguably the best sequel of all time. I'm going to take Empire Strikes Back for Oscar nominated, and it won for best sound design. This is one of the movies, obviously, I grew up watching. Some would argue that, yeah, it's one of the best sequels of all time, especially people say that it outdid the original, which is such a great thing. But yeah, I really love this movie. One of my favorite Star Wars as well.
Yeah, dude, that Empire Strikes Back. I think that was like almost the obvious one of one, like one, or maybe like I have another movie that I'm going to take, but I love Empire Strikes Back. It's so amazing, man. It's just Luke, I am your father.
Yeah, it's a classic masterpiece, man.
Yeah.
It's a go-to for that whole trilogy series.
I think New Hope, when it first came out, I mean, everyone loved it. It was Star Wars, New Hope. And then this one just like got people like, oh, wow. And then I think Empire Strikes Back is why there's such like a big Star Wars like thing in pop culture now. I think Strikes Back like is the reason why Star Wars blew up the way it did. For my first one, it's also going to be Oscar nominated, but it's going to be the movie literally right behind me, and it's going to be The Dark Knight. Yeah, I love The Dark Knight. It's a top 4 movie for me all time. It's really hard not to take it because it's just so amazing. Man, Heath Ledger in it is insane as the Joker. He straight up just scared people on set because he actually went insane. And then Christian Bale, he's my Batman. So that's what's great about it. And then Christopher Nolan. The first one and the third one, I don't think is as solid as the middle one, but you can see in the middle one, he's cooking. I mean, right from the opening scene, it's just got you locked in. And then you got Two-Face, and there's so much you could say about The Dark.
Yeah, it's by far my favorite of the Batman series. By far my favorite one.
Yeah, it's so good. All right, Dad, what do you got for your first pick?
I'll stick with the Oscar Mad Max Fury. When this
damn it
got all the sort of Oscar buzz, I was like, I'm usually let down when I go see whatever they're hyping about. Man, they did not let down. It was a great, and for the first Mad Max, I was like, when you hear the Oscar going along with it, I'm like, there's no way this thing is that good. And it just blew me out of the water. I had no idea it was going to be as good as it was.
Yeah, and it does count as a sequel because the director himself, George Miller, who came up with like the entire Mad Max, specifically says that this is set after the first one. So it could also count as a legacy sequel if you really wanted it to. Yeah, I'm pissed off because this is like a 5-star movie to me. I love Mad Max. This is really my next pick. It's so good. Cool. What's your second pick, Dad?
Let's go with the action thriller. I'm a big Bourne Supremacy fan, 2004. I think it's a great franchise, great action, a lot of thrilling moments, a lot of twists to it. So yeah, I'm a big Bourne Supremacy. And the second one, I thought coming out, how's this going to line up and how's it going to, it just picked up off the first one as well, if not better. I think actually the second one is a little bit better than the first one myself. So yeah, when it came out, I was hoping, I was like, sort of went above my expectations, which I always like when they do sequels.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Matt Damon in that role, he's at his highs of highs at that point. Comes out with the Odyssey this year. Just came out with The Rip. So he's still very relevant. But I think The Bourne was an interesting turn for his career because he started off with like Good Will Hunting was like really the beginning, did the Talented Mr. Ripley, and then right into like the Bourne franchise. Since then has been like doing more interesting projects. Cool. All right. Where am I going to go with this? I think for me, for legacy sequel, there really is only one choice for me because I think it saved the movie theaters when it came out, and that's going to be Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
For legacy sequels, this is what pops out almost like 30 years later after the first one came out. And straight up moved it, like saved the theaters because right after COVID, it was the first big movie that came out, made $1 billion. Tom Cruise as Maverick is just, say what you want to say about it not being the most accurate parts of it, especially some parts of it, but like the movie gets you going. Joseph Kosinski is really good at that. He also came out with F1 in 2025, and that movie also just gets you going. Yeah.
Unfortunately, you guys left 2 absolute bangers on the board, and they're going to go here. Rated 90 or higher on Rotten Tomatoes, I'm going to take Godfather Part 2.
Yep.
Yeah. Classic. Obviously, we watched Godfather 1 last week, had to follow it up with Godfather 2, and then I had to skip out on Godfather 3 because I heard how trash it was. So, Godfather 2 is pretty amazing. I honestly preferred Godfather 1, but I think that's just a preference thing. Still really good plot, good story. And then
I definitely prefer Godfather. I definitely prefer Godfather 1 personally.
Yeah, but I know Godfather 2 is a lot of people's favorites.
Yeah.
And my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, like Godfather 1 astronomically better. I don't know.
And then I can't believe Tyler let this one slide. I'm going to take for comedy / animation. I'm going to take Across the Spider-Verse.
I had a feeling that you were going to pick that. For me, it was like, it's going to be probably my next pick. But last time we did an animation draft, I chose the first one.
Yeah. Yeah. I like both of them, honestly. That trilogy might go down as one of the best animated trilogies in history, if not already. Even though we haven't even got the last one, it'll probably be another 10 years. But
Yeah.
It's awesome. Great story, great animation, really broke down the walls of animation and did so many crazy things.
Yeah. It's always scary when a movie takes this long to come out with this third one. So I'm having trust that it's going to be good. But like, man, when it takes this long, you start to come a lot of questions. And also, like, the guy that voice acts Miles Morales is apparently a weirdo. Like, Haley Steinfeld is just so uncomfortable around him. It's actually kind of funny. But I mean, it's not funny, but it's like, see how comfortable she was around Michael B. Jordan. Man, where do I go with this next? I think for this next one, I'm going to go with 90 or higher. And I'm going to go with Spider-Man 2.
Okay.
I think Spider-Man 2 with Dr. Ock is the best one. I think it's better than the first one. I think it's better than, way better than the third one. I think it's such a good Spider-Man. I mean, Tobey Maguire himself really started off like comic book movies and how much he liked them in the X-Men movies, of course, but really Spider-Man was like Sam Raimi just cooking. But yeah, cool. All right, Dad, what's your third choice?
Let's do the 90% or higher. When I was doing our research and I saw this one I've probably seen this one a dozen times. 007 Goldfinger. I just love that movie. He's my favorite 007. Just a great sort of take on 007. I just really enjoyed that movie.
I have not seen this one. Yeah,
I've not seen it. Yeah, you got to check it out. It's a classic. I've probably seen it a dozen times. It's a good movie.
I'm sure like at some point we're going to do the James Bond films because I feel like we have to.
And the spacing, I don't know if I'll get yelled at for this one, but it's really a shocker for me because, I'm a big Rocky franchise fan. But when this came out, I was like, there's no way this is going to be good. It's like, you've told the Rocky story so many times, it can't, but Creed. So I don't know if I'll get yelled at for the iteration of it, but it was a great movie. I just thought the actors did a great job with that movie, and it took me by surprise because I was ready to be let down and I wasn't.
Yeah.
So
I think it counts because since it's based off of Apollo and it's right like a whole or Adonis Creed and it's made like all the way after the first one. A lot of people count this one and Creed 2 as sequels itself because Creed itself, when it first came out, they had no plans for a second one because they didn't know how people were going to receive it. And then once it got received well, Ryan Coogler did the second one as well. Talk about Ryan Coogler, who just came out with one of the best movies of last year, Sinners.
Yeah, that was a good pick. I was saving that one to the end because I didn't think anybody was going to take it. But yeah, great one.
Man. I'm going to have to do this to you, Justin. Sorry, not sorry.
Do it, man.
For action thriller, I'm going to take Blade Runner 2049.
Yep, that's good.
Yep, that's a good one.
I mean, we just talked about it in depth. It's just so well done. I could have taken Legacy sequel too, but I decided not to. Because I'm interested to see what Justin chooses for Legacy sequel at this point.
Yeah, because you took both of mine.
Yeah. So I kind of want to put him in a corner to see what happens.
Yeah, I'll find something. All right. So for my action thriller, you thought you got me, but you didn't. I'm going to take Captain America, the Winter Soldier, probably the best MCU movie to date. It is so well done by the Russo brothers that it literally got them the Infinity War and Endgame movies and now Doomsday and probably Secret Wars as well.
And they did Civil War too, right?
Yeah, they did do Civil War as well. Yeah, it just really took the MCU and what it was building to and kind of flipped it on its head. Just plot-wise, it's a really, really great plot and story. Probably my favorite MCU movie. Yeah,
there's been some brainwash about the Russo brothers because they came out with the Electric State, which is like their own story, and it was so bad that they just forgot that they came out with like 4 of the top 10 Marvel movies, and they don't trust Doomsday because of that. And it's like, like the Russo brothers know what they're doing. I feel like you just got to trust them that they're going to do the characters what they should do with them.
Yeah. God, I'm cooking here. Give me Dawn of the Planet of the Apes for drama horror. Obviously being under drama. Such a good story by Matt Reeves. That whole trilogy was amazing. I personally like the second one the best. But also the newest one that just came out is great as well. I'm excited to see if they keep doing that and where it kind of goes.
Yeah. No, I really like Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. The most recent one I wasn't the biggest fan of, but because I really liked how Matt Reeves did it, and I also like the Caesar story. I think it's
Yeah.
really well done. But yeah, that was definitely on my list for sure. Okay, for me, what do I got left? Drama, horror, comedy, animation. I'm gonna go with wild card, right? Or you let me know if this counts as a comedy because I think it's pretty funny. But Back to the Future 2.
Yeah, that's definitely a comedy.
Okay. Back to the Future 2. I really like it as well. I think it's a really good like second going of what that trilogy was. I think the third one is like definitely like the goat out of it at all. Like as far as like not as good as the other two. But I think the first and second one are just as good as the other. Like I would probably rate them almost like identical ratings to each other for both of them. Cool, Dad. What's your fifth pick?
So I'll go comedy. I'm a big Austin Powers, the Spy Who Shagged Me. I thought that was there's so many one-liners that are still quoted today. I thought that was an awesome one.
Go.
And then drama, horror. You guys stole some of mine, but I'll go with my number 3 I had on the list, Psycho 2. I thought that was a classic, but it came out and there's a cult almost following behind the Psycho trilogy, sort of series. This one, I think, is one of the main reasons why. It was really well done.
Interesting. I've never seen this one. We did the first one on the podcast, but it has Anthony Perkins again in it. Interesting.
Yep.
I feel like you gotta check this out then. Yep. Anthony Perkins is coming back. Cool. Drama, horror. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Aliens for drama horror. It's such like an iconic franchise. The Alien franchise is itself, but Aliens itself, everyone has counted to it being probably the best one. Also, like it's just like Ripley itself, directed by James Cameron. Before he started doing like some of the bigger films. I mean, Aliens is so iconic. I love the Alien franchise as well. Pretty much like almost all the Aliens and what they've done with it. So it's cool. How you went from Ridley Scott to James Cameron, like two big blockbuster guys.
All right. I'm going to need a definition check on Legacy sequel. How much time has to pass?
At least a decade, I feel like. So yeah, just throw it out there and we'll cross check it.
Okay. I'm going to go with the second Incredibles movie. There was a 14-year gap in between the two. Obviously, it's in animation, so it's not like a huge time jump in film, but it did take Disney and Pixar a while to decide to come out with the second one. Much longer than most. As you can see, they're basically pumping out a new Toy Story every year now and ruining the franchise. So that was a pretty big jump for me, in my opinion.
So if you look up, was Incredibles 2 a legacy sequel? It literally says in bold, not a legacy sequel.
Okay, but it was a 14-year time jump.
Yeah, it fits our definition.
Okay, all right. I'll be outvoted then.
And then for my wild card, I don't know how this was still on the board, but I'm going to keep it within the realm of Pixar, and I'm going to take Toy Story 2. This is actually on my list as rated 90 or higher because it does have a 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. But yeah, great movie. Toy Story should have ended at 3. But here we go. We got to make the money, right?
Yeah, they're about to come out with the 5th one this year, so you better get ready. It's about to make it. It's about to make $1 billion, so better get ready for that one. Man, I don't really know where to go from here. Actually, I do. There's like a very clear one that I already know that Justin hasn't seen it, but he's been trying to play it all week as if he has seen it. There's another one that I was thinking about, but I think I have to go with Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, which neither of you have seen. How else to say it other than like Lord of the Rings rocks. And if you don't like it, then you're just a hater. Awards, ratings, fans have speak for themselves. Like Lord of the Rings, it's him as bodied as a franchise, as a trilogy. All right, Dad, what's your last pick?
Wild card for me. I can't believe this one's still on the board. One of my favorites, The Color of Money. Tom Cruise, Paul Newman, two giants. I didn't think they'd be able to share the screen together, but they did a fantastic job doing it. Because I'm a big fan of the original Fat City, Paul Newman. But it's a really good movie.
Yeah, this was on my list, even though I haven't seen it because I've heard such good things. Just the fact that they're working together. I definitely want to watch it. It's like a thing in the next week or two that I want to watch because do you need to watch the first one though?
I would, just because it does help set some context of where he's coming from, being at an older age now and wanting to give back. I think it does help. I mean, it's not a must, but it definitely helps.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So we'll read off our teams real quick. My team for Oscar nominated: The Dark Knight, action thriller, Blade Runner 2049, drama horror, Aliens, comedy animation, Back to the Future 2, legacy sequel, Top Gun Maverick, over 90 Rotten Tomatoes, Spider-Man 2, and wild card, Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers.
Yeah, for mine, Oscar, I did Empire Strikes Back. Action thriller, I did Captain America: Winter Soldier. Drama horror, I did Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Comedy animation, I did Across the Spider-Verse. Legacy sequel, I did Incredibles 2. 90 or higher, I did Godfather 2. And wild card, I did Toy Story 2.
And for me, Oscar was Mad Max Fury. Action thriller was Born Supremacy. The drama horror was Psycho 2 for character. Or no, that was my wild card. Wild card was Color of Money. Comedy, Austin Powers, Spy That Shagged Me. And then the decade space sequel, Creed. And then 90% higher at Goldfinger, 007 series.
We'll see who wins, who gets the most votes. Awesome. Well, thanks for coming on, Dad. If you guys can't see, or if you're just listening to this podcast, right behind him, he has like a big poster that has the movies of it, and then has like our name of our podcast. So shout out to you for all that. You're a great guest. Hope you come on again.
Thanks for having me, guys. Really appreciate it.
Yep. Thanks for listening. See you guys next week.
See you.